I'm 32.
What'd you say about being an old man?
I'm an old man now. I'm 48.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Derek. Happy birthday to you, Derek. Happy birthday, Derek. Welcome to the studio today. Happy birthday.
Thank you. 2 days ago, actually, I got to spend my birthday with Eddie Clancy, one of our correspondent photographers, if that's a term, and Mount Lebanon High School covering girls wrestling. So,
the birthday you always dreamed of.
I've spent worse, believe me. I've spent worse. It was uneventful, which is good. I'm low key. I like uneventful stuff because uneventful means there's nothing bad that happens.
So I won't ask you the worst place you've spent your birthday, but what is the most interesting? Because your birthday falls in the middle of winter postseason every year. So what is the most interesting thing you've covered or done work related on your birthday, since you have to make a lot of those sacrifices?
Well, it was actually in 2004. My car broke down the previous day covering WPIAL swimming. This is back when swimming was like a week earlier. And so this was February 20th. My car broke down on the way home from covering WPIAL swimming. I get it towed back to my house. Went back down to the office. I think I walked because, and this is back when we had our old deadline. Our deadline was like 6 o'clock in the morning. So I stayed at the office till about 2 in the morning, typing up all my swimming stuff. Back then, I put every kid in there. If you placed 50th in an event, I put your name in there.
Wow.
And the next day, I had to cover basketball, but I didn't have a car. So John, who was covering a game at North Allegheny, he drove himself to North Allegheny with me in the passenger side. Then I got out of his car, took his car down to North Hills, which is where my game was. After my game got over with, I drove back up to North Allegheny to pick him up.
Wow.
And
that's what friends are for.
Keep smiling.
Keep shining. Know that you can always.
I'm Elton John for 10 seconds there. I'm Elton John. I am Butler Eagles sports writer Derek Pida, and here with me today are fellow sports writer Brendan Howe and Eagles sports editor Jake Murda Adams. This is season 2 of the Alter Eagles Eye on Sports. So anyway, that was a very hectic day. And the whole time I'm thinking to myself, man, I had to remind myself that I'm like, I think I turned 26 that day. Yeah, it was my 26th birthday. Just running all over the place, came back, got our basketball stuff done, and at the end of the day, I just remember thinking, okay, let's not have another birthday like this, because I worry about money all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, it's always on my mind. Am I going to have enough money for this? And now that I'm married with a kid, it's like amplified. But even back then, I was like, okay, how much is it going to cost to get my car fixed? Actually ended up not being too much, but it's always something that wears on my mind. So it was a birthday that a lot was going on and pretty stressful. But
so I started in this industry 12 years ago, 13 years ago, and it was just before our office started using laptops. Everything was desktop. So if you wanted to cover something remote, you had to bring your own laptop to it and then email the story to the editor in the office. It was about 6 to 9 months later where we started investing in laptops and being able to go cover stuff remote a little bit more easily. So I've heard stories similar to yours, not necessarily the car breaking down and adding on top of it, but just like the late nights coming back in, not needing to finish anything until 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock or whatever the deadlines were at a respective paper. I've heard the stories about calling in a story, like transcribing it over the phone, over payphone.
Payphones, man.
Dictating.
Like, I just missed all of this stuff. And for you, Derek, like seeing all of this change over 20 years where now your deadline is 8 hours earlier, 7 hours earlier than it was then, but you also have all this, you type your stories on your phone, which even like I can't do.
Yeah, I don't know
That's
how you
just
do
so
that.
tiny for me.
Now, 90% of the time I do that. Now, Saturday, just because I wanted to be able to keep track of everything on Flow Wrestling, which is a great site, by the way. I actually did take our laptop just so because on my phone trying to keep track of everything and going back and forth between pages on Flow Wrestling, it's a little bit too much for my phone. So I did take our laptop, and after the event got over with, there is a McDonald's about a mile and a half down the road from the high school in Mount Lebanon. So I went there, used their Wi-Fi, and There were some crazy people in McDonald's. It's just like, you know, it's like they knew I was coming, and they're like, you know, we're gonna make this guy's job harder than it should be. But I just kind of, I tuned them out. There was people sitting right behind me, and I don't know what they were doing, but I tried to making a lot of noise, and I tried to tune them out, and I got my stuff done. That's why it probably took me a little longer than I was hoping, because finally when I texted you and Brendan, hey, it's done, you said, I'll jump on it. And I'm like, okay, thanks. I'm out of here. But it took a little longer than I had hoped, but it was still done by, I think, a little after 8, I think.
There was a reporter I worked with a while ago who complained about noise, like couldn't write when there's noise. And like I sit there and go, as a sports reporter, if you don't know how to focus in noise, you can't be a sports reporter. Nope. It's just not possible.
That makes
I've
sense.
written from like the floor outside of a Sheet's bathroom. Like the Sheets that I was in like had almost like a little lobby right in front of the two men's and women's bathrooms, and I sat on the floor to write a story. I've written from.
Oh, you sat on the floor in the sheets, man. You're brave.
I sat there for an hour and a half writing a district basketball playoff game recap. I've written from numerous McDonald's. I've written from the passenger seat of my car in 25-degree weather. Like, I'm sure you have all these similar stories.
Have you ever filed from a Rudders?
Yes.
I knew you were going to say Rudders. We got to get Rudders as like a sponsor,
I'm almost
man,
positive
at
I
this
have.
point.
That's when you learned that if you get the shrimp coleslaw and french fry platter, you do it after you're done working, not before, because if you do it before, you're going to spend the next hour and a half in the bathroom.
Oh, my goodness. And you still eat it.
Oh, yeah. It tastes good. Tastes good.
Derek doesn't think there's a lesson to learn from that. This is just good old living.
He just admitted that that's what's going to happen.
Well, Derek, I don't believe you look a day over 49, so happy birthday.
My dad told me yesterday I don't look a day over 47, so I'll take it. 48.
I'm a couple years behind you, man.
You're catching up to me.
I'll be 46 in May. So.
I told my sister that I'm catching up to her. She turned 50 back in July, so.
Not quite there yet. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, we know.
Speaking of high school, we had a ton of stuff going on this past weekend.
Yes.
I don't know how we had enough space in Monday's paper for it, but Jake, we're going to start with you. You covered WPIAL Boys Wrestling Championships AAA at Cannon McMillan?
Cannon McMillan, yeah. I want to say that gym is one of the more interesting gyms to cover a meet like that at, because they have the auxiliary gym right next to it, and you can tell it gets walled off at different times, but they open it up and it's a 2-level situation. So like they set the media up in that middle space on the second level, and then underneath that is where Flow Wrestling and all the directors kind of operate and handle all the match results and everything like that. So that area is somewhat blocked off, although there is traffic going around it. They do a good job with it. It makes a really interesting situation where on day one you can watch matches on both sides. On day two, they don't have anything going on that auxiliary gym, but the kids are warming up. Some of the teams kind of will congregate there a little bit. It's a cool environment to kind of be in for that stuff. But anyway, to the action, the biggest news of the day was, and this shouldn't surprise anyone, Santino Sloboda wins his 3rd straight WPIAL championship, joins some exclusive company there in the WPIAL as a whole. I think a couple dozen kids have ever won 3 of any title or 4 at all. There was another kid who was going for his 4th straight, didn't get it earlier in the day. I think he got knocked out in the semifinals. But Santino, basically pulls off the hat trick here. He is arguably the best wrestler Butler County has ever produced. Definitely at Butler, he's on his way to being the best ever at Butler County. He's now just the 3rd boys wrestler ever in this county to win 3 district titles, behind only 2 Seneca Valley wrestlers who just graduated in 2021. He did it not quite as dominantly as last year. I think he had a pin and 2 tech falls on his way to the title as a junior to defend his first title. This year, he needed a tech fall in the first round, I believe it was, and then he won by decision and decision. His final was a rematch of last year's final, which he had tech falled, I think, 17-2. This time it was a 4-0 decision. It seemed tighter today, or in that one, and I will give credit. His opponent was more aggressive on the mat this year than he was last year against Santino. Santino controlled the aggression in the first match a year ago. But Santino also said, I'm trying to wrestle a little bit smarter here. I knew I had that one under control. I didn't want to do anything stupid. I don't need to go out there and spin the scoreboard like crazy. I don't need another tech fall win in this. I just need to be smart, get out of here healthy, and win the day, and then move on to regionals and states. There's bigger fish to fry for him. The one thing that was a little bit concerning with him is in his semifinal, he went up against the Connellsville kid who afterwards, Santino and Scott Stoner were not too thrilled with the way that this kid wrestled. There was a situation where the referee called a caution on him because he had Santino, who is a very flexible wrestler, by the way, pinned, or not pinned, but like wrapped up in a way where his right shoulder, I believe it was like really twisted, and the ref had to call a caution on him for that because it was a dangerous position to be. And then a minute later, he practically threw Santino into the scorer's table. Somehow Santino's head did not hit it. He went underneath the table, but there was no penalty called either. It was a very like the kid lunged at him from just on the edge of the ring. The momentum had no other choice but to carry him into the scorer's desk, and somehow Santino didn't come out injured from that. But he kept his cool. Credit to him. And Stoner, I will say, from watching from the other side of the gym, was obviously not happy, but I didn't see him do anything demonstrative. He did say that later that the ref, kind of gave him a warning of watch what you say. But I also don't blame Stoner necessarily for whatever he may have said. I didn't hear any of it because his kid nearly got decapitated in a scorer's table in a match that I don't know what this Collinsville kid was doing, but it was, in my opinion, a little bit dirty, if not very dirty. And Santino was kind of lucky to get away with that healthy, and then moves on and wins the final. Otherwise, we had Sutton Stoner, who we talked about a lot last week, won his first sectional title a week ago. He had been injured for most of his career. He had a tougher weekend this weekend, and he's actually up in the air right now. He finished 8th, which should knock him out of regionals. However, there was a kid ahead of him, I believe, who finished 6th, who medically defaulted that 5th place match. So if he's out, and I heard some whispers as to what the injury may be, but nothing that I can confirm. If he's out and they give enough heads up to the tournament and therefore to Butler, Sutton can get another shot at regionals. But if he is able to wrestle, or they don't, or it's kind of like a game time decision, basically, Sutton is probably not going to be able to wrestle. He really had a shot in his, I believe, consolation 4th round, where if he would have won it, he goes into the consolation semis, which decides if he wins that, he goes to 3rd place. If he loses that, he goes to 5th place, and he's in regionals no matter what. But right before that consi semi, he loses a match in which he was up, I believe, 4-2, gives up a takedown with like 8 seconds left. Just kind of one of those, like, he let his foot off the gas for just a moment. And I'm not wrestling savvy to know exactly all the things he did, but you could tell, like, he just kind of lost focus for a moment. The kid took advantage of it, flipped him on his back for a second, got the takedown that he needed, won 5-4. Sutton falls into the 7th place bout, where he's basically now fighting for his life or his regional chances. So tricky one there. Butler's got 1, maybe 2 going to regionals, and then we got Seneca Valley and Mars, who the usual suspects kind of made it there. Although I will say Sam Passarelli from Mars, I thought he had a shot to maybe medal and therefore move on to regionals, but he got knocked out pretty quick. And it's 2 freshmen from Mars who are now in, Parker Joseph and Olympic Soreo. It was kind of funny when Soreo's name gets announced for winning his medal. They pronounced it wrong. They said Serio, and the coach just kind of yells at Soreo. It's very clearly they are used to this.
Serrao.
Very clearly they're used to it, though, so I guess it kind of seemed like it was playful from them. But talking to Ben Rings afterwards, he was super proud. Yeah, like, they don't have any juniors or seniors who are going on to a regional tournament, but he really likes this freshman class that he has, led by both of them. Parker had a tougher route going in. He got knocked out of the championship rounds in the quarterfinals, had a longer road through the blood rounds in order to even make it to the medal or to the podium, whereas Olympic had an easier time. He got to the semis, got knocked down, basically just needed to win one of his next 2 matches and was good to go from there. So some really good hard fight. I was particularly impressed by Parker because, like I said, he had a harder road to get there. And very easy for a freshman in that situation. You lose that match. Now you get this really long road just to stay alive. That something just kind of falls apart and you lose one of those and your season's done. And then the most dramatic way to finish the day was we had a big win from Tommy Wychuk for Seneca Valley. He was facing a 7th place match as well, needed to win. Heavyweight battle, 285. These guys aren't quite 285, which probably saved them a little bit of endurance here. They go to tiebreaker 1. So they blow past the first overtime. No score. It's 1-1 at this point. And Tommy has to take the down position to start TB1. I think he chose it. Gets up on his feet. And not a wrestling aficionado here, but kid made a mistake that he was wrestling. Tommy was able to get him in a headlock from behind and basically just fell backwards on him and pinned him. And you could, like, it was a pin where Tommy and the kid hit the mat, and the pin is called a second later. You could tell the kid was completely gassed. And I talked to Tommy afterwards, and he's just like, I knew I had to make a move now because I wasn't going to have enough left in the tank probably after this. So he wins by pin in TB1 to win that 7th place battle, gets to his first regional tournament, and he's one of 3 now for the Raiders who gets in. Really good day for them. He was one of those bubble kids that, he was seeded 8th, I believe. He moves up 1 spot, gets to regional. He'll have a tough road next week, but that's a pretty dramatic way to get in. He was very thrilled about the roar afterwards was impressive.
Also moving on from Seneca, Zach Hill and Riley Smith.
Yeah, so. And Hill actually would have faced the 7th and 8th place. He was in 7th and 8th place bout, but there was a kid that had to forfeit his semifinal earlier in the day because he didn't make weight. So it didn't matter what Zach Hill did in that final podium spot because 7 and 8 both made it now as the default 6 and 7. So Zach ended up winning his 7th place bout anyway, but he didn't need to worry about it in the end.
Update on Santino Sloboda. He's up to 167 wins now?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so Alejandro Herrera Rondon, the county leader, 2021 Seneca Valley graduates at 175.
Yep.
And he won, I believe, I know it's multiple. I believe it was 3 state championships. Yes. So
him and his
Santino
teammate
has a chance to number one. Literally, if you look at the brackets, does he have a chance to catch him? I mean, if he just blows through, wins the rest of the way, would he even get the 175? Santino, that is.
If he won out, I think he might tie because he won't have pigtails to worry about in states. He'll go in as one of the top seeds, so he'll miss some of those really bottom round pigtails, but he's going to start in the first round, and there's first round, quarters, semis, finals.
So that's 4 per round.
I think it's 4 in states that he would face.
So he could tie.
Yeah, I think he can tie as his bet. Now, if he were to get knocked down into the blood rounds early on in one of those, then he has to wrestle at least 1 extra match, and that might put him over the top. But Santino, I think, is too good in regionals. We obviously know this to even fall down in that situation. Maybe at states, he's lost his only regular season loss in his career came earlier this season, but I still don't see him doing that. He looks in control right now. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think his best case scenario is to tie. And I just want to pull this up real quick too. You mentioned Herrera Rondon. His teammate Dylan Chappell is the only other one who's won 3 WPIAL titles. So those are the 3 Butler County kids who have ever won 3 district championships.
They're talking about elite company there.
Yeah.
Dylan Chappell went on to wrestle with Bucknell. Great career there. Alejandro, 175 career wins at the high school level, I believe, 3 state titles, and now Santino Sloboda.
Yeah.
3 incredibly impressive high school wrestlers. I was at Mount Lebanon, as I said, for Saturday's WPIAL championships on the girls' side, and the most interesting thing that came out of that day, I led off with this. We had one girl finish second, runner-up Hannah Hornick at 190 pounds, and she takes the mat, and who is she facing? Her really good friend, a girl from Plum High School, Elena Klassen. And I thought, when she said, well, we know each other, then she kind of went into a little bit more detail. Mm-hmm. They wrestle club together, and they actually wrestle. I guess Elena, the girl from Plum, has like a wrestling area in her basement.
Yeah.
And Hannah and Elena have gone against each other, like just fooling around down there on the basement wrestling match. So these girls know each other really well. They're friends. And here they're facing each other in the WPIAL championship. And Elena Klassen, just to give you guys an idea, she's now 30-2 on the season. She's nationally ranked. And Hannah said, I know this girl. I know what her strengths are. And I knew if I made a mistake, she would emphasize it. She'd be able to take advantage of it. And I think it was with about 20 seconds left in the first period, Klassen gets the takedown of Hornick, and within 10 seconds, it's a pin late in the first period, and Hornick had to settle for second, but obviously still a really good day for her going on to regionals this week, which is back at Mount Lebanon. The other girls who moved on from Seneca, again, we had Hornick at second place at 190. Kaylee Toole, third place at 148. She's moving on. Adele Shai-Calabro, fourth at 112 pounds. She's moving on.
Can I add one thing from her real quick? So Adele? I covered her at the Butler Invitational a month ago.
Yep.
And she was like super thrilled to talk, but super thrilled with her day as well. And she mentioned she was talking about losing to Burrell's Ella Campbell. And like, I'll basically kind of said like, I hope to be able to get her next time. I got an email from her this morning that says, "See, I told you I would." She beat her in the district championship.
Getting emails from Adele. I remember her last year. She entered WPIAL's unseeded, and I think she ended up finishing 4th, which was pretty neat. That was actually one of my focuses last year when I covered the WPIAL championships. It was at North Allegheny. So good luck to Seneca's girls. From Knoch, of course, Braley Ireland was the defending WPIAL champion. She finished 3rd at 118 pounds. And her teammate, a freshman, Kenna Watson, 4th place at 100 pounds. So she's moving on. And 2 girls from Butler, Anastasia Manchester, 6th place at 136. And Monica Osborne, 6th place at 235. One thing that should be mentioned about Anastasia here is she got hurt in the 4th round of consolations.
Okay.
She kind of tweaked her back on Saturday. So at this point, she lost that. So that moved her down to the 5th and 6th place match, which Nathan Bodiger, Butler's head coach, basically held her out of. Because you can't do any better or worse than 5th or 6th place. That bout's deciding 5th and 6th place. So she basically had already qualified for regionals. So Nathan held her out of that, and their plan is to do whatever rehab or treatment they need to do on that back over the next few days. He said he expects Anastasia to be able to wrestle this weekend at regionals. So hopefully whatever's wrong with her back now can be treated, and she'll be ready to go for the weekend to see if she can get the states.
And it'll be, not that we're like supposed to be fans of who we cover, but obviously doing that story last week on her and her grandfather and the struggles that she's had over her life, her young life. Like, you want to see her get to states. That's her goal that she wants to get to. We mentioned this last week. Her grandfather's got stage 4 brain cancer. He really wants to see her make states again. She did a couple years ago. She missed last year because of an injury right before the postseason. So this is the driving focus. Make it to states so grandpa can watch me. It will have to be over stream, but she really wants to get to that stage to have him get at least one more chance to watch her. And so that would be a big one. One last thing we want to make sure we mention is Slippery Rock in District 10. Zach D'Urberville, been knocking on the door of a district title for a while, finally gets it. He's going to go into the 2A regional next week as one of the top seeds after winning D10 2A. So congrats to him. I believe there's one other from the Rockets that's going to qualify for regionals as well. I don't remember off the top of my head what their qualifications are for 2A regionals, but they should have 2 going there. So we could have a handful making the trip to Hershey in a couple weeks. And
next, also this week at regionals, because District 10 held their girls' championships 2 weekends ago. Sophie Hensel, Slippery Rock's girls program's in their first year of varsity competition. Sophie Hensel made regionals by placing 2nd in District 10 2 weekends ago. So I guess she basically has, almost 2 weeks to prepare to practice, because she's now going to be in the AA regional this coming weekend. Pretty cool for a program in its first year to be sending a girl on to regionals and possibly states. So
and they don't have like a very big roster just yet. So
I think they got 6 girls maybe.
So that's a big deal.
Yeah. Also over the weekend we had WPIAL diving and Knoch boys basketball clashing with North Catholic for the 3rd time this year, this time in a WPIAL semifinal. Our man Brendan was there, and here are his thoughts on that game. Cha-ching!
What the heck was that?
That was it. Plays, and then we keep going.
Great dance moves. Well, Derek, you more upset that you missed round 3, or that you didn't miss round 3, considering that was a bit of a blowout? You got the first 2.
I did. And I covered the 2 good games. The first game was Knoch beating North Catholic at North Catholic in early January. The rematch was a 6-point win for North Catholic, 61-55, I believe, in early February down at Knoch. So Brendan gets the blowout. But as you know, Jake, Knoch and North Catholic have both already qualified for the state playoffs. There could be a 4th meeting between these teams. It's really cool. I mentioned this a few weeks ago when we were talking about student sections. Knoch and North Catholic, this is only the 2nd year they've been section foes. But just because well, up until the other day, the 4 regular season games played between these two teams, 2 last year, 2 this year, have been really good, and they look at each other already as rivals, and that's pretty cool because before last year, Knoch-North Catholic basketball, I don't even know if they thought of each other. They weren't in the same section.
And I've talked to you in the office before about it. To me, moving into this area, there's so few natural rivalries within the county. You have Montauk Karn City, which is obviously a huge deal in every sport. Slippery Rock has Grove City, which isn't far out of our county. We don't cover them anymore, but we don't have anyone else. Like Butler, Seneca Valley kind of play each other in WPIALs in several sports, but not football, which is the big one, obviously. I don't sense the same kind of juice from those games as I do Montauk Karn City. I don't know. You tell me if there's if I'm missing something there, but every time I've covered those games, they're not quite as it doesn't feel as big of a rivalry as some others. And then there's not much else in the county. So
are you talking about strictly Knoch-North Catholic, not as juicy compared to?
No, I'm saying Butler, Seneca Valley.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen that one be as thrilling the games that I've gone to cover them. And
now, what sport are you talking about? Basketball?
Basketball. I've gone to a baseball game too, which obviously baseball's not going to bring out a huge student section. But
the thing is, I don't want to put words in people's mouths here, but I've heard people talking, describing rivalries. And if you get on to Seneca right now, especially this is the case in football because Seneca Valley hasn't even played Butler in a few years in football. But even the other sports, I think Seneca Valley kids, the athletes on those teams would say that their biggest rivalry is actually North Allegheny.
Yeah.
Because they play each other in every sport, football, baseball, basketball, softball, everything. As far as Butler goes, I don't know if I think it would up at Butler, I think it depends on the sport.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to a baseball kid and say, who's your biggest rival, it might be Seneca, but in soccer, it might be a different team. I think at Butler, it depends on the sport, but at Seneca Valley, their biggest rival, and I'm very confident in saying this, the athletes would say North Allegheny, absolutely.
Yeah, I think you're right now that you mentioned that. Long story short, it's good to see another rivalry growing quickly here. I'm sure Knoch and North Catholic have played each other in the past, but not probably section opponents before now. So this is good to see that very quickly it's gotten some juice behind it, and I'm all for those types of games.
I'd be up for a fourth game this year.
You would.
I think I would be. And you can send me to that one.
We'll send you out to Chambersburg for that game. Go to Rudders.
Knoch-North Catholic, 2 schools in Butler County, and we're going to put the game in Greencastle. How about that? Not Newcastle, Greencastle.
You're speaking my language. I don't really miss Greencastle, but they were good in a lot of sports.
I've stayed in a Super 8 motel in Greencastle several times for state track.
Wow. Look at your bona fides.
you're literally, you can tell, when you're in Greencastle, you're literally about 4 miles from the Maryland line. You're way down there.
Yeah.
Saturday, for me, much like Derek and Jake, was a pretty busy day. First, I went and covered the North Catholic Knoch Semifinal Class 4A WPIAL basketball game, and it was one we'd looked forward to all season. We were in the office saying that it was going to be one of the best basketball games. The 2 regular season ones were really exciting. This one kind of didn't live up to the billing. Knoch came out, they scored the first 10 points. Derek Lang had 8 of those points there. I think he's 6'7". He's a very tall kid. He gets out to a fast start and kind of takes the air out of North Catholic sails. North Catholic tried to fight back the whole game, but they could not get down low in the paint. They scored off of 3-pointers mainly, it felt like. By the time halftime rolled around, they fought back. I think they were within 6. I wrote in my story after Jason Fredericks made a shot in the second quarter. After that, Knoch kind of ran away with it. The passing that they had was magnificent. What they were able to do on the offensive side of the ball, on the defensive side of the ball, like I said, they play a 2-3 zone where North Catholic could not get into the paint whatsoever and score. It just was not working out for them. I talked to Tegan Finnegan after the game. He, in the fourth quarter, ended up scoring the basket it was a routine layup that gave him Knoch's all-time scoring record. And after the game, he was, obviously they're excited to go to the WPIAL Championship. It's a big thing for Knoch. He was giving his teammates a lot of praise. There was a play about a minute and a half after he scored the basket. They didn't stop the game. It was a no-look pass. Vinny DeFelice just puts it up, easy layup for a score. Then all the stars got pulled. And that's another thing about that game is Knoch starters played all the way until 1:15 was left in the game, and the game was well in hand. I thought that was really interesting. That's why I focused on my story. Something I haven't seen in that high stakes of a game, maybe a game ever that I've covered high school basketball. Later in the night, I tracked down diving. We had a few girls in the area. Allie Waters, who I've written about multiple times, she ended up being the runner-up at the Class 3A diving championships. She's a Seneca Valley girl. And then Marin Rabel, she is a junior at Mars, and she came third. Turns out that they're pretty good friends. The girl that they lost to, that won North Allegheny, they all went to gymnastics school together when they were younger. They weren't upset, and I'm talking about Waters and Rabel, that they came where they did. They were actually pretty happy. They're looking forward to states. Both kind of talked about staying calm and kind of enjoying the moment. I thought that was really cool, and that's kind of what I centered on there.
Time for our Beyond Butler segment, where we focus on something outside of Butler County, whether it be professional or college sports. And this week it's pretty easy considering what just took place in Italy. Jake, your thoughts on the Olympics? Obviously the gold medal men's hockey game, the most recent thing that happened just Sunday morning, right?
Yeah, that was a crazy game. My wife and I, who she roots for Team Canada because she likes Crosby, she also just likes hockey in Canada. We watched separately, which was probably good for our mental health and our relationship. Didn't hear anything get thrown after Jack Hughes scores that overtime goal. I was kind of excited about that. I haven't seen a men's hockey championship in the Olympics before. I was negative 11 years old the last time it happened in Lake Placid. So this was pretty exciting. Also really cool that the women did it. Also, I believe in overtime too, I think was the Friday game. So like really dramatic stuff. But man, like I love the Olympics, and I know I'm kind of naive to think that because like I have a lot of older people around me when I was younger. Like the Olympics aren't the same because there's not amateurism anymore. I don't know. I think it's still really exciting. I get to see athletes who work for their entire lives for one chance to win a title or win a medal when the entire world is watching or most of the world is watching, and you get all these dramatic storylines behind it. And it's just really, really awesome. So like I was jazzed behind this. Derek and Brendan know, and everyone else in the newsroom know, I was walking in some days with like my phone on with Peacock, watching curling or watching like half pipe qualifiers or watching free figure skating, anything like that. This is my jam for 2 weeks, 17 days, whatever it is. Like I nerd out on sports, everything that I don't watch any other time for the next 4 years mostly. So like I have other thoughts, but Derek, I want to hear what your thoughts were on the Olympics.
Well, I thought it was pretty cool to see Ilya rebound to help the U.S. men win the team championship, the team gold, because in the individual, he, literally fell on his face.
Yeah.
On his butt twice. What was it, twice?
Yeah.
It's cool to see somebody that does the exact opposite of rising to the occasion, come back a few days later and turn in an incredible performance. It shows he's got some mental fortitude, because a lot of people that screw up in one competition, it stays with them. And if they have any competition later in the Olympics or later in whatever event it is, they're not able to get that bad performance out of their mind. And apparently he was, because he turned around and turned in a great performance in the team competition. Regarding hockey, though, I'm not a big hockey guy. You know that. I just thought that it's the Americans' first gold medal since 1980. And when that game was played, February of 1980, I was 2 years old. I'm now 48. So that just kind of put it in perspective. And they've come close before, 2010 when Crosby scored the golden goal. And this time he didn't even get to play because he got injured in the semifinals.
Yeah.
So,
which has got to be serious then.
I do know that there are a lot of people into hockey, especially around here. They love their Penguins, but every 4 years when the Olympics roll around, they're wearing the red, white, and blue. So they certainly had something to cheer about, not just on the men's side, but the women one too. So
yeah. And you were talking about kind of the resilience and stuff. I want to go back to figure skating here. Like Amber Glenn, did you watch the women's figure skating at all over the late last week?
I did not.
So in the short program, Amber Glenn, who was a fringe medalist candidate for Team USA, she had a chance to win. And the women have not won an individual medal in figure skating since 2006, and they hadn't won gold since 2002. And this was a program that had dominated figure skating for like several decades. Amber Glenn in her short program completely missed one of her jumps that she had to do, which was like a 2 or 3 point penalty. Like there's a base score that if you execute this, even at just like average, you get this score. She just couldn't execute it. She had to drop it in the middle of the program. So she loses 3 points, which dropped her to 13th, which 3 points is a huge miss. And she was devastated. You watch some of the videos and the photos from after that, like the world collapsed around her for a little bit. She comes back in her free skate 2 days later and crushed it. It was an awesome performance. It was darn near flawless until her last jump where she slightly bobbled. I think her hand barely grazed the ground or the ice a little bit. She jumps from 13th into the number 1 spot. Now she's got 12 other skaters that have to go ahead of her, but she holds that 1 spot until the 4th or 5th last girl goes or woman goes. And it was just like kind of incredible to watch. She was thrilled with her performance. It was, there was still a lot of guessing. Could she even hold on to a medal spot? She ended up not. She got 5th, but it was kind of incredible just to get to that point. I keep saying incredible because it was. Alyssa Liu, though, her teammate, goes and wins gold. This is a woman who had, as a 16-year-old 4 years ago, really struggled on the Olympic stage, retired from figure skating after that, came back a year and a half ago and had to convince one of the like best coaches in the world to take her on and be like, I want to make this comeback. And he's like, I can't. Like no one makes this kind of comeback after retiring for 2 years. But she skates with such like ease. She doesn't care what her score is. And like, I mean, that's what she says. And you could tell when she's on the ice, she's just like out there to have fun. And you don't see that often at that stage. She goes and dominates both of her performances, wins gold by like 2 points, I think it was. Her hair's awesome. I don't know if you saw it. Like she's got like she's a brunette, but she like highlighted it in horizontal stripes. So it just like gives this weird effect on the ice. It's super cool.
I had that look a few years ago. The woman that placed 5th, though, I think I saw something online that said that she dropped down in like the standings or whatever because of a technicality. Would you consider it to be a technicality?
It's the way that it's scored. No. So because she didn't she has to give in her routine to the judges, she has to give them, this is what I'm going to do ahead of time. And so they know going in, okay, I need to grade, this triple axel, I need to grade, and I'm going to botch terms in figure skating. Like I said, I watch this stuff religiously for 2 weeks and then I check out on all of it, but it's super fun for 2 weeks. You have to execute all of these jumps. And if you don't, or everything that you say that you're going to do, and if you don't get those points. So your baseline score of whatever it would be is now a 0. And so you're kind of going in with a default of, okay, all this stuff that I've listed on the sheet that I'm going to execute is going to be worth this many points just on a baseline. So you're working from there. You can build up from it if you execute it particularly well, or you can lose if you execute it particularly poorly or don't execute it at all, in which in her case, she didn't. She missed the jump. Now you have an opportunity, which we saw with Ilya in one of his routines, where you can add the jump back in if you miss it. Like something happens, your skate slips and you don't execute the jump at the spot where you say you're going to, you can add it back in later and get those points. You will usually lose some like choreography points or whatever they're called later on from the judges, but you at least get those technical points back. And she did not do that at all. So she lost like 3 points, I think it was, just for that jump. But it was like an incredible, like you think 13th, like most Olympians in any sport are not coming back from 13th, and she nearly did. A couple other things I do want to mention too is King Klaebo from the Netherlands. I don't know if you watched him. He's a cross-country skier. 6 gold medals these last 2 weeks. That is an that is a Winter Olympics record.
I was going to say, that's like Mark Spitz.
It's a Winter Olympics record. He was 6 for, he competed in 6 events. He won gold in all 6. This is Michael Phelps level stuff.
Yeah, Michael Phelps, actually, he surpassed Mark Spitz. That shows you my age range.
He got 11. He's now got 11 all-time gold medals.
And what country is he from?
Netherlands.
Netherlands, okay.
Second all-time to Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps has 23. Klaebo has 11. And the next closest guy, I believe, has 8. And the 8 is in the Summer Olympics, which are notoriously more sports. Like Phelps has so many because swimming has 1,000 events in it. Mm-hmm. There's not many in the Winter Olympics. Like you can't win multiple hockey golds.
Right. Well, in swimming, there's relays, there's individual events. Yeah. But speaking of that, so that's what we got. If you're a person that really looks forward to the Olympics, I think I told you this in Brennan. I actually look forward to the Summer Olympics more than the Winter Olympics. Those are coming up in 2 years in Los Angeles.
Yes.
So
I would like to go.
And Who knows? We could have somebody local there, right?
We could.
Jordan Geist, possibly.
That's true. Yeah, we might.
I'm going to the Olympics in LA.
We might have to. Laura, you're going to be our infield correspondent.
Correspondent.
Yes. Let's do this. I should correct myself. Klaebo was from Norway. I said Netherlands. My fault. But yes, we need to do this. You're going to cover track and field.
A good friend who, well, her aunt or mother used to take my soul cycle class. We stay in touch a lot. Her mother was the head writer for, I think it was The Young and the Restless.
Really?
So, mind you, they have one of those houses where you're like, that looks like a museum. That's your house. It's like, it's one of those.
Really?
Yeah. They have these
art.
They have these art pieces, and they're just the kindest people ever. When I was leaving LA, they bought me a spa day, and I was like, oh, cool, spa day. I go to the spa, and I'm like, oh, this is like legit. Like, this is like a legit place that people spend all day. It was pretty awesome.
Are going to show up.
So we were talking, and she said, you got to get back out here. You should come for the winter or the Summer Olympics, and you can stay with us, and we'll get tickets. And I go, okay. So that's the plan.
You got to register for the lottery. Because I've been watching so much Olympics. My Instagram feed now is just filled with like LA lottery ads. There's the word. I should know that.
That's okay.
And I really want to I want to go to the World Cup this year, but like you couldn't get in. Like even with the lottery stuff, and then the prices were insane. They were several $100s to go to any game.
I'm sure.
And
a girl I worked with at Lululemon, her husband they were from New Zealand, and her husband was a soccer player. And was going to see Andy, her husband, in the World Cup. I'm like, casual.
That's crazy.
It's casual. Just, they were living in New York at the time.
Those Kiwis, I'll tell you.
It's just those Kiwis. I need to meet a Kiwi.
My last thought in the Olympics.
Derek,
did you watch? Do you have Peacock? Were you watching Gold Zone at all?
No.
Okay. And I know you track money in it, so I'm not going to criticize you in any way. If you ever have the chance to watch an Olympics again and buy Peacock for a month, I think it's like $8 right now. Gold Zone is the craziest. It's Red Zone for NFL Network, but Olympics, and it is like so much fun.
All the big moments.
I just turn that on in the morning. Like I'll be feeding the dog. I'll put that on and I just check out on the Olympics for an hour and a half until Mallory gets up, and then we go to the gym and I have that on while I'm working out. Like it's great. Like, I'm addicted to Gold Zone. It's so fun.
Do you ever get the Jake, pay attention to me?
No. She knows in the Olympics. It's
like my wife during Steelers games.
Mallory doesn't seem like.
Nah, and part of the deal is like, she has the TV on all the time. Like she works and just has the TV on. I don't know how she does it. I can't focus like that.
Yeah.
So when I steal the TV, I'm doing it like a couple times a week. It's football season, it's Olympics, and maybe during lunch, like any other time of the year, like, hey, I just want to watch something for a half hour while I'm eating lunch before I head into work. And so she kind of just like doesn't, like, we don't really fight about it too much. And
that's good.
She doesn't care about the Olympics, but when you put it on, she'll pay attention. So like, I'm not like, there's not really a conflict there. And especially when we put hockey on, then she's sitting there, then she's engaged. Then she's yelling about Team Canada, or her backup team is Finland because she's part Finnish. So she was very excited. Yes. Olympics.
Or
Well, it doesn't sound right when you do the chant to go Olympics.
Surayo.
well,
Milano.
You too.
Or no, it's not even Milano. It's Milan.
Alyssa Milano, is she here?
Charmed. I'm sure.
I'd go back to Who's the Boss.
Oh, Who's the
Tony
Boss?
Maselli.
Now I feel like Brandon.
Have you ever seen the episode of Friends where Phoebe's singing the song and she says, "Hold me closer, Tony Danza," and she thinks it's Tony Danza, not Tiny Dancer.
Oh,
have you ever seen that?
I've watched the entire
not a
series
Friends guy.
once, but like
I forget which episode it is, but she's singing.
I believe it entirely.
And she's like, "Hold me closer, Tony Danza," and they all look at her and everybody starts laughing. And I was like, "Who's the boss?"
Who's the boss?
You don't know Who's the Boss?
I know Tony Danza.
Look at Jake's face. He's like, no, I don't.
This is why I said I feel like Brendan today.
You know
now
who
I'm
Alf is, though, right?
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Judith
Sorry.
Light,
Judith Light.
Tony Danza, Danny
Danza.
Pintero, Alyssa Milano, and the mother's name was Catherine Hellman.
Yes. Oh,
Yes.
classic.
I mean, these are, we're going back to like late 80s. I
You
mean,
wanted to live in that house, right?
Absolutely.
I wanted to live there.
I wanted Tony washing my underwear. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I'd go that far.
This is kind of related. I really dislike what modern like tween Disney and Nickelodeon shows are, because every house and every school is like the most colorful, fanciest thing in the world. And when I was growing up back in my day, Boy Meets World looked like a house in...
He just said Boy Meets World back in his day.
Boy Meets World looked like a house in Philly, in suburban Philly.
Well, I mean, it should...
And I liked that.
You're getting real plosive there on your...
I know, because I'm animated about this. This irks me.
Okay.
And when they did the remake or the reboot a couple years ago, and it was Corey with his kids, Corey and Topanga with their kids, and the house was super fancy. The school was bright colors and everything. I was like, no, this isn't real. I don't like this. I'm sorry.
How about Full House?
Full House also looked like a house.
Yes.
Oh, whatever happened to
Predictability.
Did you ever watch
the
any of Bob
milkman, the
Saget's
paperboy, the evening
skits
TV?
outside of like that?
I'll be honest with you, and God rest his soul, I was never, ever a Bob Saget fan. Nothing he ever did or said I laughed at. I'm sorry, I just could not stand him.
Did you watch him as a comedian ever?
Yes.
That's what I was asking.
I did.
Oh, is that where? Yeah.
I tried. He
Yeah.
also hosted America's Funniest Videos for a while, too.
That's how I knew him
that
growing
was
up.
Friday night. America's Funniest Home Videos. That was the Friday night.
The way I look at Bob Saget was he was okay. Sorry, Jake.
No, it's okay.
He was okay on Full House because he had a bunch of funny people around him propping him up. That's the way I look.
Yeah.
I grew up with him on AFV and Full House. I didn't know he was a stand-up because I was a kid. Let's be real. I didn't know he was a stand-up comic until I was in my late teens, because I just didn't ever think, oh yeah, like he was a funny guy because he was doing like most funny guys starting stand-up. I never knew he was a comic, and then I heard some of his skits, and I was like, whoa, very different style from what I was expecting him to be.
I think he played on the fact that he had to be this wholesome TV dad, and he couldn't say anything bad. He played on that big time in his comedy, in his stand-up.
I think for my age, though, because I grew up in that specific way, it was so jarring. But I'm sure for like you guys, where you saw both at the same time, it wasn't like as jarring to see, probably.
Remember Dave Coulier? Cut it out.
Cut it out. Do you know that the song Alanis Morissette wrote, You Ought to Know, actually that was about Ryan Reynolds, but do you know that she also dated Dave Coulier?
Yep. And she wrote a song about him too, I believe.
Yes.
I forget what it was.
So wait, was You Ought to Know about Ryan Reynolds? I believe it was.
I thought You Ought to Know was like
maybe it was about
90s.
Dave Coulier. It might have. That actually might have been about Dave Coulier.
This is where we need a researcher. We need to hire a researcher on staff.
Well, I do have my computer sitting here, so stay tuned for the end of the episode. I should know that. I'm actually ashamed that I don't know that. I'm a huge Alanis Morissette fan.
According to Google's first thing that popped up, it was about Dave Coulier.
It was Dave Coulier. You Ought to Know. Alanis Morissette. Yeah, they were engaged, I guess, and he...
Something. He cut it out.
Well, he
didn't cut it out.
Cousin Jesse.
And then I have been on this ER kick because I never watched ER the full way through. So I started watching ER a long time ago. I'm already in the last season. I've got maybe 8 episodes left and then it's all over. But they're bringing all these original characters back. And the season I'm in right now, John Stamos is in it. He plays Gates. And it's just so weird watching him. At one point, he makes an Elvis reference, and I'm like, but it's not as much as Uncle Jesse used to make.
No.
Uncle Jesse talked about Elvis Presley all the time. I'm an Elvis fan, so I appreciated it, but it was a lot.
All the time.
It was all the time, but that's how they did those sitcoms. Mm-hmm. They had the bits. And he's like,
They buried them.
He would do like the lip thing.
Deep in the ground.
Yeah, they would definitely.
So you're on an ER kick.
I'm on a huge ER kick. I've watched Grey's Anatomy, and I'm also watching Traitors. That's another reason to get Peacock. The show Traitors. It's a game show. It's
It's a clue
It's
game
like
show.
Squid Game.
So what's interesting about it's reality TV, I want to say, but they're genuinely playing for money. So when they have celebrities, the money that they're getting is going towards a charity. When they have regular people on, these people are actually winning this money. And it's a lot of money. It's like, it's over $100,000, but during the show, they have opportunities to win more money. They do these challenges, which that's what I love about it. But the very first night, Alan Cummings is the host. There's also a UK version. Alan Cummings, it's this castle in Scotland, and they're getting ready to do a version. My friend's like, you need to apply for this. And I said, I'd have to be gone for a month. You have to go to Europe, which I wouldn't be against, but also like, I don't think I could leave here for a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, doing the podcast internationally. That's what we're doing. But
From the Coliseum, reporting Laura Crago.
from us, and there's a peacock at the castle, and there's this groundsman who is just, it's really funny. It's just hilarious to me. And Alan Cummings is, he's dressed to the nines in his outfits. The first night, they have a round table where they vote every night, and they vote someone off that they think is a traitor. So everybody's trying to decide who's a traitor. And everyone says they're faithful. Those are the regular people or the faithfuls. He designates typically 3 people as traitors. But what he did new in this season, and you know who else was in it, was Donna Kelsey. Donna Kelsey, Travis Kelsey's mom was on it.
See, I just know Tara Lipinski and Johnny Weir are on it.
And they are on it, and they're still there. I mean, we'll see. Thursday was like, we ended. And
I love the two of them.
I think one of them might be getting murdered. Anyways, I digress. You watch the show, and what Alan does is he goes around the table, and if he taps you on the shoulder, that means you're a traitor. And everybody has these like blindfolds on, so they have no idea. And then they take the blindfolds off, and then they're all sitting there like looking at each other. And there's like 20 people, right? And there's 3 traitors. They have no idea who it is. And every night they put these cloaks on, and they go to this secret tower, and they decide who they're going to murder that night. And they send a letter to them. And the next morning, that person just doesn't show up for breakfast. And they're all like, oh my God, they got murdered. But then at night, after they do their challenge, they sit at the table, and the team of faithfuls is trying to decide who the traitor is. And they vote someone off with these cards. And when the votes are unanimous, like let's say I get 8 votes, you get 6, and you get 4. Well, I'm voted off then, right? Mm-hmm. I have the most votes. I have to go up and I have to say thank you. And I have to say whether I was a faithful or a traitor. And they're always trying to get traitors. And when they get traitors, it's great. Well, what he did in this season was he had a secret traitor. The traitors didn't know who it was. And we didn't know as the audience. And it ended up being Donna Kelsey. And when they voted her off, it was so sad because I loved her. It doesn't matter. I don't care. Ask me how much I care right now. She walks up and she looked sad, and she walked up and I go, I think she's the traitor. I think she's the secret traitor. And she walks up and she's like, it's been really fun being here and getting to know you all. And she had a lot of like, these are celebrities, like people that she looked up to, and it was interesting. She said, but you got yourself a traitor. And they all started screaming.
Crazy,
and
nuts.
It's so fun.
Traitors. Sponsor our show.
Thursday night, 9 p.m. Peacock.
I'm not going to get into it now because we got to get on to our third topic, but Walker, Texas Ranger. That's what I'm into right now.
Okay.
Anyway, Chuck Norris just kicking it. Butt.
Chuck Norris is just...
With this much plot and him kicking butt, that's pretty much what every show is, but I'm hooked.
Between him and Van Damme, I'm just like...
I think Chuck Norris would kick the crap out of Jean-Claude Van Damme.
You think so?
Yeah.
What about Jackie Chan? I don't know. Jackie Chan's pretty...
I just like Jackie. I would vote Jackie Chan just because I like Jackie Chan more.
I think him and Chuck Norris should have a fight. Like Jake Paul and Tyson. Okay, go ahead.
That would be
High school hockey is also into the postseason. Half of our teams are. Seneca Valley's 18-1. We've talked about them before this year. They've lost 1 game. They have 1 game left against Mount Lebanon this Thursday night, and the AAA playoffs, where Seneca Valley is the defending Penguins Cup and state champions, will begin next week. But this week, Tuesday, February 24th, Mars gets a bye out of triple. Actually, this is single A. Mars gets a bye in single A. They're 17-3. Butler plays Knoch-North Catholic Tuesday, February 24th, 6:40 down at the Ice Castle in Castle Shannon. Mm-hmm. Why couldn't they stick this game closer? They're taking 2 schools north of Pittsburgh, and putting them down 10 miles south of Pittsburgh. Doesn't make sense.
This is some PIAA stuff right here.
I think that the PIAA and the PIHL are in cahoots, definitely.
Agreed.
Let's
get to the bottom of this.
Butler is 15-5. North Catholic is 11-9, so Butler's definitely the favored team there. And Freeport, Didn't see much about them in hockey this year, but maybe there's a reason. They're 2-18 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't make the playoffs. And Division II, Knoch, definitely going to the playoffs at 11-6. They got one game left. I believe it's being played tonight. But either way, with an 11-6 record, they'll definitely be headed to the playoffs.
There's too many playoffs right now.
There's a lot going on.
That's my contribution to the hockey talk today.
There's a lot going on.
Playoffs.
Seneca Valley, the fact that they have responded after winning the Penguins Cup and the state championship last year with what could turn out to be, if they win Thursday, a 19-1 regular season. When they got that target on their back. The only team that beat them this year was NA. That was like 3 weeks ago. And they're following up, and I know we got a way to go in the postseason here, but they have followed up a great season with a great regular season. We'll see how it translates into playoffs. High school hockey, Jake. How big was it in your area growing up?
My high school had a club team. I don't even remember his name. I know one kid who played on the team that was in my grade. That was it. There wasn't much of a scene there, to my knowledge. Central PA, covering Carlisle. There were a couple teams out that way, but it wasn't. I think we had one team make the state playoff game or the state championship game one year, and I think they got blown out by a team from Pittsburgh. So there were some good athletes out there, but it's just there's not nearly as much infrastructure in the Harrisburg area for hockey as there is here. There's only a handful of rinks. A lot of places had to kind of share. I mean, which happens here too, but there's 3 or 4 rinks in the Butler-ish area that all of our teams share. Yeah. I think there's like 3 rinks in all of Cumberland County, and there's only a handful of teams in the county. Where I think the 6 teams that we have here, I think it's 6, is double what Cumberland County had.
Connellsville, where I went to high school, they started a hockey team. I believe it was my senior year, which would have been the 95-96 school year. And to their credit, they still play down there. It's still intact. When something's fledgling, there's always a question of, are they going to be able to keep this up? Or the group that started it, once they graduate, is it just going to kind of fold up? They still have a team down there. I believe it's Division II now. They're still Division II, but they do have a team, and last I checked, they're still doing pretty well. Johnstown is an area that when you just think of Johnstown, you're like, okay, how big can hockey be out there? But the Johnstown Chiefs, which I believe inspired the movie Slapshot.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, the Johnstown Chiefs, like minor league hockey team. It was like in the AHL, I believe it was called, American Hockey League. There was a lot of high schools out in the Johnstown area that had hockey teams. Forest Hills had a team. Richland has a team. Johnstown had a team. All those were influenced by the fact that the Johnstown Chiefs were, back in the 60s, 70s, were really big out there.
Wow. As
we could ask Paul Newman if he was still alive from Slapshot, but he's not. One sad note, we got to mention this. I was at wrestling over the weekend, and I noticed somebody, an older guy, wearing a Bill Mazeroski jersey.
Oh, yes.
And I didn't think anything of it. There's a guy wearing a Bill Mazeroski jersey. I went into the very quickly put up media area because when I showed up, there was like nothing for media there. And I'm trying to like get settled in on Flow Wrestling to keep track of all the wrestling results. And this thing pops up on Yahoo, and it says Pirates legend Bill Mazeroski ... That's how they make you click. They like their clicks. And I clicked on it, and here he had passed away Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you talk about a legend. I mean, when you look at everybody that has played Major League Baseball, even the guys, a lot of the guys that are viewed as great, and even a lot of them are in the Hall of Fame, the vast majority of those guys don't have one singular moment that they are remembered for, like Bill Mazeroski. His home run in Game 7 of 1960, still, to date, the only walk-off home run Game 7 World Series history, which is crazy because the World Series has been played since 1903.
I think he was the third Pirate I ever knew growing up as a very young Phillies fan. It was Willie Stargell because he hit the longest home run in Bedford Stadium history. It was obviously Roberto Clemente, and then the next name I remember learning was Bill Maz. Bill
Mazeroski. Dead at 89, but he got the statue down at PNC Park. He's in the Hall of Fame, and a lot of memories. People pass news down from grandfathers to their kids to their kids. Bill Mazeroski's name will forever be linked with Pirate history and obviously the 1960 World Series. Rest in peace, Maz. See you next week. We encourage you to subscribe to the Butler Eagle YouTube channel and Apple or Spotify podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Alter Eagle Podcast and at Butler Eagle News. Goodbye.